UNC Kenan-Flagler is recognized as perhaps having the best, most comprehensive leadership development program of any top business school. As we focus on the development of students for leadership roles, what skills are most needed for leadership roles in a global company?
Of course, you need a wide range of skills. I would say intellect is at the top. The people who succeed generally are the smarter people. Of course, you need the discipline to harness that intellect, and I think you need intellectual curiosity in order to sort of think, to be able to think about new things, to be flexible. You need to have analytic skills, you need to be able to synthesize information, and you've got to have communication skills because you've got to communicate that synthesized vision that you're going to lead the people who work for you to execute. So, and again, that sort of is just the tip of sort of what people need, I think.
What leadership lessons have you learned from your role as president of ESPN and co-chairman of Disney Media Networks that you can pass along to UNC Kenan-Flagler graduates as they embark on the next stage of their careers?
Well, of course, in a job like this, you have the chance for lifelong learning. So I'm learning new leadership skills at all times. For instance, right now we face real challenges to sort of our overall business ecosystem in terms of the way people consume video, the way advertising dollars move. So I'm trying to learn flexibility. I'm trying to learn about how to not be disruptive, but to adapt new ways of consuming content and new ways of marketing and use them to grow our business. One thing I always tell our guys is there's often a correlation, an inverse correlation between market leadership and innovation, right? So the companies with the greatest share often become defensive and don't innovate. We at ESPN want to do the most of both. We want to have as much share as possible in the sports media business and also introduce more products, adapt technologies quicker, be more willing to disrupt ourselves and our competitors. It makes it kind of hard to be disrupted if you're willing to innovate yourself.
What is your personal leadership philosophy?
I'm not sure that you would take my personal leadership and actually put a philosophy around it. I'm not sure what you would want to call it. I think my personal leadership does involve, and it's a little bit like what I talked about with the skills you need, it involves a leadership being able to create a vision, have that vision be easily comprehensible, to be able to communicate that vision and then inspire people to do it. My philosophy in terms of how I deal with people, paramount at ESPN is the idea that we care and value for all the people who work for us. We respect them. We treat everybody with the idea that everybody should have an opportunity to succeed. We are strong believers in diversity and inclusion. We have changed our workforce in terms of the gender proportion, in terms of ethnicity, in terms of being very aggressive about making sure that sexual orientation, physical ability or disability, what football team you care about, where you grew up, where you went to school, that what matters is your performance, and we want to provide those opportunities to everybody. I also have a philosophy. We don't believe in yelling. We don't believe in management by intimidation. We do believe in, I think, what sometimes gets called empathetic management. We try to do that at ESPN where we actually care about our people. We believe in transparency, however. We believe in the people who get promoted or the people who do the best job. We don't believe in a ladder. We believe in the best people, and if you have to move people up in a hurry, we believe in the same philosophy relative to diversity. We don't believe in you just bring people in at the bottom and you'll change your company. We think change starts both at the bottom and the top. So that's what we've tried to do. So that's a little bit of a rambling business philosophy. We don't think of it as sort of a philosophy. We think of it as sort of a management style and just kind of how we do business, our culture.
What is the biggest leadership lesson you've learned in your career?
I'm not sure there's a single biggest lesson, and I'm continually learning new lessons. A couple that stand out, I did once preside over the worst initiative in the history of ESPN when we launched the ESPN phone. And it was quite a big launch, and we had to buy hardware, and we did major marketing. We bought a spot in the Super Bowl, and it just didn't work. But I did learn two really, really good lessons. The first is If something's not working, you are significantly better off to cut your losses than to try to change something that you must accept is not going to work. The second lesson I learned, because I wasn't fired, was that you have to let people fail. And it's got to be okay to fail. If I talked before about the necessity to be a market leader and innovate and take risk, you cannot do that if you're not willing to let people fail and then succeed in their careers. And in fact, I was not fired and I did succeed in my career, so I learned the lesson: you got to give people the ability to fail. I've always learned, in the job I'm in now, I've certainly learned that you have to inspire people. You've got to communicate with transparency. You have to act quickly. You have to make decisions. One lesson, one philosophical thing I tell people: if you're 85 or 90% sure you're right, the time it takes to be 95% right is not worth it. You should go, because the worst thing a leader can do is hold other people up through indecision. Make a decision and move on. You're going to miss some of them, and it's better to miss them quick than to miss them slowly.
How do you see the role of higher education evolving to meet the changing business landscape and the expectations of society?
Look, I think I'm fortunate in that I went to the University of North Carolina and got a classic liberal arts education. And that helped me learn to read and write and understand a little something about history and mathematics and science and social science, and become acculturated to a group of smart, inquisitive students, to have some fun in an academic environment. And those are the things that prepare you to succeed in business and to lead. It certainly can help, and a school like Kenan-Flagler can help prepare you for the discipline of business, help you understand case studies and terminology and historical trends and data. But ultimately you're going to succeed in business because you can think, because you can absorb information, you can analyze that information and synthesize it into things that matter and things that don't matter. Nate Silver wrote a fabulous book called The Signal and the Noise, and is about trying to understand in the massive data that we have now, with the massive information you deal with in business, with competition and data and trends, and finding out what the signal is in that noise, because it means something, but the noise means nothing. So, you just got to be smart to figure all that out. I do believe that people who read in business succeed better. And I don't think that means just reading business books or self-help books or trends or the Harvard Business Review. It just means reading. I spend more time reading poetry and short stories than I do the Harvard Business Review, and I highly recommend it.